As with most of the class-specific uniques in Diablo 2, the Druid Pelts are fairly limited in quantity, with only 4 of them being present, but unlike the others, while one does stand out as generally the best, they can all be somewhat useful until you get your endgame gear and are not easily beaten by simple magic items. That said, they are still a bit of a pain to find thanks to 3 of the uniques being in elite bases and only 1 being in an exceptional base. And it's easily the most popular of the unique Druid Pelts, and that's Jalal's Mane. It's just an all-around good helmet, especially for shape-shifting druids thanks to the solid plus skills, resist all, stats, hit recovery, and a few other nice minor boosts. I'll generally keep a couple of these packed away for slotting with various runes or jewels, since they're relatively common and can be modified for a few use cases. Even though they're not always best in slot, they're just reliable and balanced. In the elite slots though, we have a bit more focus, with things like Cerebus Bite, with a lot more focus on the melee bonuses like a bigger attack rating boost, life leech, open wounds, and a very shapeshift focused kind of plus skills setup, as well as Feral Rage, making it lean very much into the realm of Werewolf Druid. While it's not the best in slot for this, these bonuses are sufficient to make a decent enough build with the helmet. Raven lore is fairly similar, but for the Fire Elemental Druid, with plus skills, some random ravens for blinding, as well as energy resistances and a pinch of fire-resistant pierce, so we can actually do some damage there. Especially if they end up making the fire tree for the druid more viable, this could actually see a bump into being somewhat useful, since that enemy fire resistance effect could be fairly important for this, even though you can get more plus skills from other sources, at least for specific builds. Lastly, we have the Spirit Keeper, which unfortunately has always felt like a disappointing weaker version of Jalal's Mane to me, with weaker melee bonuses, less plus skills, worse resists, though it does actually pack some absorb that can be useful. The reason this is really disappointing for me is, after the wolf heads, the antler helms are pretty much a close second favorite aesthetically for me, so I really wish there were better options for that pelt, especially with how uncommon it is. Overall, with the Druid, you'll often be going with non-unique helms, unfortunately, because those will be your best in-slot items, but the uniques still have very specific build focuses to them for the most part, and one that's just good general use if you're unsure about a specific helmet. This is especially more in line with what I think the unique should be, since it lets you have the useful reliability of a well-named item, while still having the potential of better options if you go for rares. That said, what do you think is the most balanced class-specific group of uniques in the game? Are there some groups that are overpowered, or some that are woefully underpowered? Mention it down below, and as always, special thanks to all the channel supporters that make this content possible.